everyone, Ashley here and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm bringing you kind of like a trip report from my recent trip to Disneyland, which was so much fun. I have so much to talk about. And that's kind of why I'm doing kind of like this sit down kind of talk about it with mixing in my vlog stuff, because I had so much to talk about and I just couldn't do that as much while we were running from ride to ride, or like I also wanted to like just enjoy the days. And so I really couldn't like talk about everything while I was there. So I'll be mixing this kind of, it's like a trip report slash vlog. So I'll kind of be mixing in some of my vlog footage with here just talking to you about kind of elaborating on things that we did. So yeah, so let's get into the trip, but first don't forget to like and subscribe. So I have a list on my phone here of everything I want to kind of discuss, so I might be glancing down a bit for that. Yeah, so the first day on Monday we went to Disneyland, and so we got up at 6, which I did not sleep at all the night before because I was so nervous about getting the Rise of the Resistance boarding pass. Okay, this was my first time doing a boarding pass. I did all of my research and honestly worried a bit too much about it. Like, so for people that are worrying about that, like whether you get on it or you don't, it is not worth the agony that some people put themselves through. I'll tell you that right now. But I did, so I learned my lesson from that experience. But there's a difference between doing your research and worrying about it. It's like, it's a ride at Disney. It's supposed to be fun. Like, it shouldn't like give you anxiety. So yeah, I was very nervous the night before. Sleep, I didn't get a lot of sleep. Even like my friend Lizzie, once I explained everything to her, and like the night before I was trying to find a good spot for the bars on my phone to have a good connection and all that. I did so much prep work. So she didn't sleep at all either. She was so nervous. So we got up at 6. We were out on the street at 7 because that had a better signal than further into like our hotel complex, and I was shaking. I have not been that nervous since I did my like master's degree like business plan presentation in front of like, which pretty much was the entire faculty, because I was the first one to go, so everyone showed up for that. That's and that was over 10 years ago. So I don't remember being that nervous since then. I was shaking. So Lizzie had the world clock out, and I had it going. I was, ready to refresh, and I did it, and I got group 23. So I got a very good boarding group. So I was so relieved. My knees were like kind of wobbly afterwards. Like, it took me a while to come down from that experience. I didn't even vlog any of it because I was just too nervous. I like didn't want to distract me, especially since if we were doing it in the hotel room, I could have set something up and filmed it, but we were out in the street. I just didn't want anything to deter me from getting it and distract me. So we got group 23, which I was very excited about. Lizzie has never been on it. I had never been on it. She hadn't been to Disneyland in like 10 years, and she had never been to DCA. So she got to do a lot of things for the first time on this trip. So we got her a coffee, and then we went into the park. We got there for a rope drop, which was really fun. I have never rope dropped any Disney park before. We're waiting for Disneyland. Lizzie!
I put on
We're waiting here. You got your coffee. So we got Rise of Resistance. I'll tell you more about that later. But we got Rise of Resistance boarding passes, and now it's taken 3 years off my life, but I'm excited we got them. So we're just gonna wait. Maybe 20 minutes. This is gonna fill up a lot, 20 minutes, and then get in. Get Indy first. Here, hold on my bag, Lizzie, so we don't lose each other, like you do with your mom. We basically lined up to go to Adventureland because the plan was to do Indy, Pirates, Haunted, and then kind of see what the deal was. Those are, 3 huge rides are right in a row from each other. And that was the plan. So we lined up, they like dropped the rope, everybody's going. We get to Indy, they're like, keep going, the ride's not open. I'm like, okay, everyone's like, what? Like, Indy's like, is the best ride. I love it. And we keep going, Pirates are like, Pirates isn't open, keep going, keep going. And everyone's like, what? Like, everyone that goes through Adventureland first, like, those are the rides that, they have long, crazy waits later in the day. It was just so annoying that we couldn't get on either of those. So we ended up getting in line at Haunted Mansion, and that ended up being our first ride of the day. The other 2 we had to like backtrack later in the day and go back on them. So yeah, so after that we just we rode Big Thunder, and of course I was watching that boarding group time to make sure. I know you get the push notification, but I was not gonna let that alone after everything, like missed our boarding group. So I was very excited to do that. And after we did Big Thunder, which I almost lost all my stuff on. Indy and Pirates were still not open, so we ended up going to Fantasyland and just doing those classic rides there. And in line for Peter Pan, we got called for Rise of Resistance. So that was about 9:30. The park opened at 8. So yeah, we were like, it was very quick. So we went over there, we got in line, we got on it, and we rode it. And it was a really, really cool ride. I will say that. Was it worth the anxiety that I gave myself about getting a boarding pass? No. And I don't think any ride could be, because I just tortured myself about it. So keep that in mind. It's amazing. Do your research and try to get on it. It's definitely worth getting on and trying, but don't drive yourself crazy, because at the end of the day, you do what you can, and if you don't get it, you don't get it. So after that, we just kind of did Batuu in general, walked around. We did Smuggler's Run, which was fine. And then we got the blue milk and the green milk, and I just came over the fence on Team Blue Milk, and Lizzie just came over the fence on Team Green Milk. I thought they were both really good. I know a lot of people are like, green milk's disgusting. I didn't think it was disgusting at all, but they were both really good. And I think I would probably get both if I had someone to share with and do half of both in the future. Got my Mickey pretzel, so that was fun. So we had a little sit down when we had our Mickey pretzels.
Okay, so we finally sat down for a hot second after going since 5:45. So we got Rise of Resistance boarding passes. I've never been so nervous. Like, my hands were shaking, and I haven't been that nervous in years. I can't even remember. I must have been had a horrifying, like embarrassing experience in elementary school or something, and it hasn't been that bad since. But we got, what was it, 23, group 23, and we went on it, and it was really cool. What did you think? If you want to be in it. Worst thing.
I was very impressed by the scale of it.
Yeah.
The production quality was over the top. I thought it was super cool.
Yeah. I loved how there was the two different ride systems. It was you had the trackless ride, and then you go into the whatever where you get dropped and all that.
Yeah.
The simulator. You actually go into the simulator too, and you're kind of lock your car in. It was so good. So we had blue milk and green milk, and Lizzie is team green milk, and I'm team blue milk. But I could easily be swayed depending on the day, because I thought they were both really good.
I thought they were both really good too. I had a slight preference for green.
Yeah, slight preference for blue. So yeah, I was happy, because some people are like, green is disgusting, and I'm like, oh, okay, it must be really strong, powerful, taste. But it wasn't. Yeah, it wasn't that bad. I mean, it was great, but it wasn't super strong, where people would be repulsed by it. But everybody's got an opinion. Yeah, so we had that. That was one of my snacks I wanted, and I just had my Mickey pretzel, which I always get, and that's now only later we get our Dole Whip, and then I've had all my snacks for the day. So I think we're gonna go walk around Batuu some more, and then back to Fantasyland, because we kind of dropped everything when Rise was calling. So, yep. And then in an hour and a half, we have lunch at the Blue Bayou, so that'll be fun. So, okay.
We had lunch reservations at Blue Bayou, which I had never been to before. Of course, when you're riding Pirates, you see it off on the side when you get right in your boat, right when you leave the loading area. So I'd always seen it, and so I finally made a reservation there. And yeah, I had the vegan option was a cauliflower steak and grits. Don't think I've ever had grits before that. And I'm not a huge cauliflower fan, but that was the option. And I kind of wanted to try this restaurant out.
This is the all-vegan cauliflower steak and grits. Vegan without modifications. Ooh, we'll see. I'm going to take a bite, and we're going to see what it's like. I don't think I've ever had grits before, to be honest with you. Very cool. I'm trying to get a little bit of everything in here. My first bite. And I'm not even a huge cauliflower fan, so I'm really going out on a limb here. Good. Like it.
You like it?
Yep. Very different. I've never tasted. Like I said, I didn't have had grits before, so.
After that, at some point, I rode Splash Mountain. I had never rode Splash Mountain before because I don't like water rides. I don't like the possibility of being soaked for the rest of the day or even the majority of the day or part of the day. I just am not interested in that. But I decided to ride it. So, because Lizzie likes that ride and I'd never been on it. So I went on it and it was good. It was fine. It was actually much longer. That was the biggest thing when I got off that I thought. I was like, that was a lot longer ride than I expected. And because we did single rider, because that line is crazy, I was in the back. So that's always like a good tip. Like you're not really sitting with your, you're sitting like you're in a line. You don't sit next to anybody. So the single rider line worked great for us because we just got in the back of them, and at the back of each, the two cars we were in are logs, and you get the least wet in the back. So that worked out perfect for me. So I was happy about that. Do I need to ride it again? Well, I don't think so, but I'm glad that I finally experienced it. My favorite snack of the day was at the Tropical Hideaway. We waited in line because I didn't have mobile order for the Dole Whip raspberry lemon float. And that was delicious, beautiful. Like people were asking where we got it when we were like walking around with it. And yeah, that was the best, I think, like sweet treat that I had the whole time on the trip. So definitely would recommend that. It was really good. So then we landed for fireworks, and it was Disney's Mixed Magic. And I didn't watch any videos on it beforehand, but it's basically like a 10-minute dance party. And it was honestly the most fun Disney fireworks I've seen. Like they have the projections all the way up Main Street and the fireworks and everything. So even if there's inclement weather, there's still a show if they can't do the fireworks. Because, usually if it's too windy or whatever and fireworks can happen, then there's just no nighttime entertainment. Obviously right now there's no parades or nighttime parades or anything like that. So the projections were amazing. They had lasers and snow and all kinds of cool stuff. I was shocked at how cool it was. I liked it better than even some of the longer Disney fireworks or nighttime shows that I had seen previously. So I really liked Mickey's Mixed Magic. So after that was over, we had about an hour before the park closed. So I definitely wanted to do Matterhorn at night because I've heard that's really good, and I've only ridden it once before during the day. So we went ahead and did single rider because I had a super long line, and it's another kind of like individual, you sit single file in it, so I figured we didn't need to sit next to each other. So we did the single rider, and she ended up right behind me in the same car. So I love when that happens in a single rider line. It feels great. So we did that, and that was fun. And then we ran over to before the park closed and got in line for Jungle Cruise. I am not a big Jungle Cruise fan at all, but I've heard it's better at night, and they had all those changes that I had not seen. So that's why we did Jungle Cruise. Don't need to do it again, for sure. Like some of the changes were cool, like that very last change with like they do the like lost and found, but it's like a store or whatever. That was cool, I guess, because we got stuck in front of it for like 15 minutes. We like had a lot of like technical difficulties. We were backing up, the boats were all backing up, and they'd go, and then we'd sit, and we'd back up. It was not a great cruise. And also like at night, I thought like I know it doesn't make sense because if you're on like an actual like safari cruise, they're not gonna have lighting, but it was hard to see anything, and I just wasn't into it. And I wasn't a big Jungle Cruise fan to begin with. So I've done the Jungle Cruise at night. I saw the new stuff, and yeah, so I could say I just don't like it. So one thing I will mention before we move on to the next day is that we really didn't wait in a line longer than 35 minutes. We might have pushed 40 close, but not quite on Smuggler's Run and Indy. And Indy, when we got line, was a 60-minute wait. So there was good crowds that day.
Walking out. End of the Disneyland day. How many hours are we here? We got here at 7. We got at the park. 14 hours.
15 if you count 7.
Yeah, I do. 15 then. 15 hours in Disneyland.
So that's how we ended the night. Tired, but excited, and had a lot of fun. And we just tried to get home and go to sleep because we had another 6 a.m. wake-up call the next day to try to get the 7 a.m. Web Slingers boarding group. So our second day at DCA, Lizzie had never been to that park, so that was going to be really fun. Everything was going to be new, and she's never been to Disney World. So even some of the things that are kind of similar, or like some of the rides that are duplicated, would be new to her. So that was really exciting for me, like experiencing that with her. So we were up at 6 a.m., out on the sidewalk at 7 a.m., and to get that Web Slingers boarding group, and I got group 7, and I was so excited. That's a really low boarding group, so I was shocked that we got group 7. So after those two, after getting the group 23 on rides and group 7 on Web Slingers, I said I felt like comfortable, like going, like when I would go back in the future, that what I'm doing, as long as like the rules don't change and everything, as long as what I'm doing works, so I will feel much less nervous next time. Went into the park, and of course I was like, okay, we have to go right to Radiator Springs. But like the entire park was going that way. Like we got there at rope drop, and like the entire park, like nobody was going anywhere else. And eventually I was like, this is gonna be an immediate like 70-minute wait, 65, 70 upwards of that. So we just got out of the crowd and went to Incredicoaster and got right on that. So we rode Incredicoaster first thing of the day, like 8 a.m. we were on a roller coaster. And the DCA day, like as far as like strategizing the like rides and when to ride things, completely fell apart. So we honestly just went from we just went back and forth, like zigzagging all around the park all day, just depending on the ride times, or the wait times. We also had a really bad problem with rides breaking down. We had Goofy Sky School and Incredicoaster. That was going to be our last one of the day. We were going to do it at night. And both of those broke down, and they just cleared the lines out. It wasn't even like, oh, you can wait if you want or not. And Toy Story Mania, we waited. It broke down. They said you could still wait. We waited 20 minutes, and then it came back on. We got to ride that. So we had a lot of problems with really long wait times that day, and a lot of like technical problems with the rides. Probably, I was really excited to do the Guardians ride because I had not been there since they had redone it, and I absolutely loved it. Obviously, you know from this channel, I love the vintage aesthetic, so I love the aesthetic of Tower of Terror. But the ride itself, I prefer Guardians. It's so much more fun than Tower of Terror to me. But I love the aesthetic, obviously. I'm glad they keep both, so I want them both to stay. But Guardians was amazing. We rode that twice. That was just the most fun ride of the day, for sure. We had lunch at Lamplight Lounge, so we had the like Impossible Pastrami burger there. That was the vegan option. And it was just nice. You're just sitting outside and you're like watching, you know, Pixar Pier in the background and the rides and all that going. So it was a really nice atmosphere there. So I think I would go back. The food was good. It was a little, almost too much on the meaty side for this vegan. But yeah, it was a good experience. And then my main sweet treat of the day was the like Pixar Pier Frosty Parfait, which is basically a cherry and on lemon Dole Whip, and then they have like this blue raspberry slushy thing kind of mixed in on the bottom, and I really liked that. It was definitely close second to the lemon raspberry float that I had the day before at Disneyland, but it was really good, cute, took a good picture, and I actually forgot, because we had our masks on a lot of the time. This was a few days before the masks came back to the Disney parks, but we wore them 80% of the time anyway. But I was like, it was starting to melt a little bit, and I went to like lick it, and I forgot I had my mask on, so I got Dole Whip on my mask. So, but it was very good, and definitely a good option for a cool treat in DCA. So the last few things I'll talk about on our DCA day, because we just ran back and forth to attraction to attraction, and it was just kind of crazy. Quickly, I'll mention I call it the Mickey Fun Wheel, but I think that's the old name for it. It's like Swingin' Pals or whatever, like the big Ferris wheel that has the swinging and non-swinging carriages. We did swinging because we thought, oh, it would just be like an extra fun thing instead of just sitting there. Wow.
There we go. That's a little like way more intense than it looks from the ground. Oh my god.
Shocked at how actually scary that is. There's no seatbelts in there. There's barf bags in there, which we didn't see, so we started swinging wildly, violently. Like we're like have our legs up against the seat. We're like grasping to like the sides of like the thing, like the cage essentially. It's just swinging wildly, and we were freaking out actually. Like I don't feel scared on rides because I know they're safe. But I actually was like, am I gonna fly around inside and boing 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 like a pinball in this like carriage? Yeah. Not for the faint of heart. I don't think I would do them again. I would do like the non-swinging. So yeah, definitely beware. If you're scared of heights, which I am not, but if you're scared of heights, do not do the swinging ones for sure. It was pretty intense, which that was like a super, like it was a surprise. I just thought I would film a little bit and have a nice relax and get the views and everything, but we were quite shocked. So of course the newest part of DCA is Avengers Campus. And we did ride Web Slingers. Like I said, we got group 7, so we rode it pretty early in the day. And it was good. It was fine. People say it's like a glorified Toy Story Mania, which I think that is accurate. I would agree with that. I prefer Toy Story Mania to it. I don't know. It just didn't have that it thing that and I love Spider-Man. He's like one of my favorite superheroes. So I was excited about it. But I feel like everybody else kind of, they're like, it was good. It was fine. There's none of that like wow factor like when you people get off rides and stuff. So yeah, if I missed the boarding group for that now again, I really wouldn't be that upset about it. But it was a cool experience. I'm glad I got to try it. And the rest of Avengers Campus is pretty small, but it's fun to walk around. And of course, like we said, we rode Guardians, which was a highlight. It was so good. I loved that ride so much. And we also did the Spider-Man show. We actually had to do it twice because the first time the Stuntronic didn't work. It failed. I saw like the thing swing, like the rope, and then nothing happened. I was like I don't really care about the other shows there, but I wanted to see that Stuntronic swing as Spider-Man. So we made it back again later and it worked. And it was worth seeing it. It was really, really cool to see. This is awesome! That was another like technical difficulty in the day. So there was a lot of technical difficulties on the rides and attractions in DCA that day, but we made it work. And we had at the end, like with the park closed, we got our like potato tacos from a place, I can't remember the name, but delicious vegan tacos and like rice. And then that was it. We went home to the hotel. We went to the hotel and just passed out because we were so exhausted from 2 days of like constant walking. All right, so that's pretty much everything from my Disneyland trip. I hope you enjoyed it. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite thing to do at DCA or Disneyland is. And I'll see you next time. Bye.
This is the aftermath of all the mask and bag on backwards, looking rough, feeling rougher. Oh, open close again today.